Hey there, Loot&XP fans. It's Justin again with another Let's Experience. Today we'll be looking at Dixit. Dixit is a card game in the form of an apples to apples kind of judge-jury type game, but with a nice twist to it. Let's take a look inside. A game of Dixit plays with anywhere from 3 to 6 players, though I would recommend having at least 4 for it. Now in the game you'll see this score track right here. You each choose a color, which includes your bunny rabbit, you place it on the score track, and your voting tokens. Now depending upon the number of players playing, you will need that many tokens. Okay. The cards that we play with all have really awesome pictures on them. Some of them are strange, some of them are funny, but they run the gamut. So for example, we got this guy here covered, or girl covered in paper, walking in a storm. We have a ladybug with other bugs coming out of its shell. We got a guy jumping off of a bunch of books. The cards explain themselves. I mean, there's really almost zero language to the game. They all have really odd pictures, like this one kind of reminds me of Moana. Really awesome movie, like that one. And then we got old crazy granny driving a jet engine, like that one too. Alright, so in the game what you do is, on your turn you'll have your cards in your hand. You'll pick one that you want to say a clue about. For example, let's say I had this one right here. Right, I chose that as my card, and I would give the clue knowledge. Now you don't want your clue to be too simple. I wouldn't mention anything about a fairy, for example, or a stack of books. You don't want to be too specific, because if everyone figures out what your card is, when we inevitably put them inside of the pile in the middle, then you're not going to gain any points for that round. But you do want some people to figure it out, so you can't make your clue too hard either. Just right is where it's at. So let's try it out. Alright, we've got our green, yellow, white, and red bunnies, 4 players ready to play the game. White player goes first, and they choose this card, saying their clue out loud for everyone to hear. They can say as many words as they want for it. You could say a song lyric, you could even just make a noise, doesn't really matter. But in this case, the person is going to choose the phrase, the word lonely. So they put their card in, they immediately draw a new one, add it to their hand, and wait. Now every other player will be looking at their own cards simultaneously, choosing a card for lonely. I'm not going to show you the cards. And the goal for the other players is to find which card was white's. So you guys will actually get to play along with this one. You can try to guess which card was white's as I put them out. We'll say white was me. Actually, no. Let's make white DC. Lonely. So we have a sad clown, and they're going to go under these numbers right here. For the number of players, if you have 6 players, you'll add cards all the way up to the end, of course, because everyone puts 1 in. So we have a sad, lonely clown. We've got lonely Beauty and the Beast motif looking thing going on there. We have a lonely fisherman, perhaps, and a lonely white rose. So at this point, the white player would not do anything. DC's just going to sit there and wait while we all vote. We have our 1, our 2, our 3, and our 4. That corresponds with each one of these. So you'll keep these secret because you don't want anyone to know what you're voting on. Let's just say red player chose that. They're going to put their vote in the middle, not up above the number that they chose. That would defeat the purpose of putting it upside down, of course. Let's say they choose this one, and they choose this one. Alright, so once everyone's made their vote, DC would flip them over, put them accordingly, and tell the truth about which card he put in. It was number 1, which gives yellow player 3 points for guessing correctly. It also gives DC 3 points because not everyone guessed it. So he made a clue that was just right. Now, who put in card number 2? We have to ask. Green player raises their hand. That was mine. And so green player, we'll say that's Morgan, gets a point from red player, which is me. And ironically, Red player claims that they put this card in. Justin says, that's my card, and Morgan happened to choose his, which means that Morgan accidentally gave him a point also. Whomever you trick to guess your card gives you an extra point. They don't reduce their points, you just gain one, pardon me. So we move on to round 2. These cards go away. Anyone who did not collect a new card would then get one. So let's go ahead and pass those out. And we'll do 2 more rounds and see how it goes from there. Okay. So Justin's turn. He pulls up his cards and he decides that he wants to use the clue passionate. He puts that card in. Let's see. You don't have to turn these in order, of course. It's really however you wish. Passionate. Morgan throws that one in. We'll say this is Rochelle. Rochelle likes this one, and DC throws this one in. Right? Okay. Shuffle them up. Now, passionate, that could really be a lot of things, so you have to kind of think about who's the person telling the clue, and Rochelle is very good at that. She's thinking really hard about Justin and what he would mean by the phrase passionate. So, first card, we see a person cooking, making money in this pot. Interesting. We see a bunch of kids in costume at school. Got a woman who actually is her instrument playing herself, and a engineer, scientist working on some kind of contraption. All right, so Justin's out this round. He will not be voting. DC thinks he already has it, and he goes ahead and chooses his number secretly and puts that in. Morgan as well wants to choose that, and Rochelle thinks she figured it out. She puts hers in. All right, we mix them up, flip them over. Right there. Justin says, indeed it is number 2. Rochelle says, I knew it. Of course, I'm a teacher. It makes sense that I'm passionate about my students. So knowing other players can get you hints about what they might be putting in there. And that's also good for the player who does the hint, because they only want some people to figure out what they're thinking. So inside jokes, all that kind of thing are really good in this game. Now, Rochelle put this card in, so she gets another 2 points for tricking the other 2 people in the game. Right? Okay, last round for now. Morgan, oh, sorry, I forgot to give everybody cards. Morgan decides he's going to choose time to go as his phrase, and so he puts that in. Rochelle puts hers in, DC puts his in, and Justin puts his in as well. Oh no! DC decided to change his. He pulls it back out real quick, which is something that I usually do in games actually, so, and changes his card. It's okay, we hadn't shuffled him yet. Time to go is the clue. A boy on a horse climbing over a rainbow. Got a strange compass on top of a quilted map, looks like, or a crocheted maybe. I have an old man made of feathers, and a little boy with his suitcase in his Where the Wild Things Are-esque costume here. Yeah, I know, it looks nothing like those monsters. Okay, so Rochelle is going to put her guess in. She knows Morgan very well. They're married. She might have a good shot at it. Let's see. She's going to go with this one. DC guesses, let's see, guesses that, and Justin just throws in that as well. All right, so we flip them over and organize them. Morgan says, sorry guys, it was number 2. That was my card. Which is actually not bad for the rest of us, that none of us guessed it. It just wasn't a good enough clue, and therefore Morgan wouldn't gain any points this round, but the rest of us would all gain 2 as a penalty to him. Now, this card was Rochelle's, so I gave her a point, and this card happened to be mine. Oh, sorry, I don't know mine, excuse me. This card happened to be DC's, and he gets 2 points for tricking us. There we go. So if you make your clue too hard, or the cards just aren't right, you may not gain any points. Everyone else will gain some as a penalty. Same thing if it's too hard, or if it's too easy, and everyone guesses your card, then they all gain points, and again, you do not. Dixit is incredibly popular, and probably that's because of its variability. The cards have all these awesome icons on them and different pictures of who knows what. And there's tons of expansions for this game. I think there's like 7 out right now. Each expansion includes a whole other set of cards. And I think that each expansion has its own artist that draws different pictures for those cards. So they all have a little different style to them. You can mix and match your favorite ones in with your set. I strongly recommend the Memories set. That's one of my favorite ones. That's where the children and the school picture comes from, and several other ones like that. So if you guys enjoyed this one, get together with a group, try out Dixit, and have a good time trying to give your inside clues or your jokes and hints to people that you think they'll get. You gotta be on that same wavelength. Take care.